Okay, I'm live, but I don't have my notes up. Gee whiz, not a good day today, as you can tell. There you go. Good morning, everybody. Welcome aboard! That's right, everything is just great. Computer's not working, nothing's going on. I'm not screaming at you, and I'm not an asshole. Well, let's put it this way, I am. But good morning to you all. Nice to see everybody in the chat room. It's starting to fill up. Good morning to Arnie, Greg, Chris from Cambridge, Chris Gallo, Eddie. She just threw something at me. Pal, Tommy Johnson, Rottweiler is here, and ladies and gentlemen from the Soviet Union, it's Vladimir Putin. I'm sorry, that's Uncle Putin. Okay, good morning, everybody. Good morning. Semyon at 7, Webb at 20, or Sager at 30, and Gausman at 11. Wow. I would have to go, even though I like Sager as the best player here, $30 over $7 to Semyon. I would say go with Semyon and Webb. Okay? I would go with Semyon and Webb. But of course, in the last 12 months, we've had 2 Tom Brady retirements, that we know, and we've had 4 Carlos Correa contract agreements, right? What a great offseason we've had. Is the sound good? Just want to ask everybody how's the sound. Okay, make sure we all have sound, as I'm doing it a different way today. Sound. What are you doing? Well, just don't go around slamming everything. Lady in the Legends, it's Sunday morning. You want to be there, right? Okay. All right. 0 sound. Sound is good. Arnie, you may have to adjust your set. If one person has sound, everybody should have sound. And how we doing to Vladimir Putin? Uncle Putin. You calling him that. Okay. You got sound? Gotcha now. Miguel Cabrera is calling it quits after the 2023 season. The question is, are we drafting Miguel Cabrera this year? I don't believe so. Look, the Tigers are going with youth. Cabrera is going to be much more of a clubhouse guy this year. Yeah, they'll allow him to, if there's any records at stake, anything that he hasn't achieved, he will certainly be given every chance. But I like the Tigers a lot this year. I did last year too. They may be a year or 2 away, depending upon the pitching. Okay? But the answer is Miguel Cabrera. Dad's a Premier is here. Good morning to you. Miguel Cabrera in his final year. Now, here's the thing. Today is Groundhog Day, right? That we know. And the problem with Groundhog Day is this. It's going to be replaced. Now, I have been it's going to be replaced, and I'll tell you who's replacing it. When you go through all the newspapers, the sports sections, the newspaper sports sections now have special betting articles. Sports betting. It's all over town. Sports betting, right? As a matter of fact, one of the reasons that Sirius Radio may have let us go was because we're not talking sports. But what are you doing? Sorry. Excuse me, everybody. This is the Lady in the Legend at work, okay? Anyway, the point is that if it's not gambling, it's not good for baseball, okay? Not good. Sports betting articles. So instead of Groundhog's Day, write this down because it's going to happen. The Groundhog's Day is going to be replaced by Matthew Berry Day. He's going to come on and make predictions. That's what it's going to be. Matthew Berry Day. You got that? It's going to happen. So with sports betting articles, everybody's talking about the betting. It's taken and listen, 60% of the people in this country of the United States cannot afford to get $1,000 bill, okay, for anything. We're so close to breaking out even and working week by week How do you promote betting in this time for the country? It's not in the best interest. 60% of the people in this country can't rack up $1,000. Robert C. can do it. Kenny Flamier can do it. Big Al and the Prowl can do it because they're all here. How we doing, Uncle Puddin'? Nice to have the great Uncle Puddin' in here. I think the craziest job in this country has to be the Major League Baseball hitting coach, right? 17 teams in Major League, 17 out of 30, between 2021 and 2022 have changed their hitting coaches. This coming season, there'll be 10 coaches will enter the first year with new teams. The average length of tenure for an active Major League Baseball hitting coach is about 2.5 years. Now, how many in the chat room believe that the hitting coach is the key? How many hitting coaches actually say, hold your left elbow up, don't swing so hard? Remember when you were a kid and you played Little League or anything? Level swing. If you dropped your bat, it was a hitch. It wasn't a trigger. So, come on. Who is the hitting coach that says, I know a couple of guys who say, I will not draft a young player who doesn't have a trigger. When we were growing up, anybody who coached us on hitting would say that was a hitch in your swing. Swing level, right? Swing level. You don't have to worry about your launch angle. Swing level and no and just swing level. That's it. And don't hit your swing. Pretty crazy stuff, okay? Now, Major League Baseball, now listen to this one. This is something, until I read this morning, I had no idea, okay? But Rich Hill he's the pitcher, he's getting very fed up with what I'm about to say. And you guys this is really not good, okay? Major League Baseball, reportedly, that's with quotes, right, Uncle Puddin', reportedly used 3 different types of baseballs last season. This comes after 2 different versions of the baseball were used in 2021, and the effort seems to be developing as neutral of a baseball as possible. Pitchers have complained sometimes about juiced-up balls. Hitters have complained about other balls being dead. Are you kidding me? Major League Baseball using different balls, and they're not telling their public about it. This is what loses fans. But if you go out to dinner with Chris Gallo, you will gain fans. Right, Arnie? Okay, DK Lush, everybody's having fun. King of all haps are here. If you missed the King Hap show last night, listen to it on demand. And he's got another one coming tonight, so we all love the Hap. Okay? So, basically, it's been a while since there was a consistent ball being used. And Rich Hill, who's been pitching in the big league since 2005, he said, there's a podcast he was on called Baseball Isn't Boring. There needs to be one ball. And when you talk about betting, you'll see some of the talk and betting is now going to be, and by the way, in this game they're using the juice ball. In this game they're using the boring ball. I mean, come on, everybody. You'll be hearing it soon. Good morning to Zelmo. Now, if you move up into the chat room, scroll up, there's a picture of me and somebody in the chat room, okay? A picture of me and somebody. I'm going to put it up there again if I can, but it's a picture of me and somebody else, okay? The question is, who is somebody else? Okay, let's see if we can put it up there. Let's see if we get it, and hope this is the right picture. It's not the right picture, okay? So we'll take care of that. Okay, it's not the right picture. However, Rich Hill says he expects it to be different, and we'll see. But how many of you are surprised that there is more than one baseball being used. Scroll up. I can't repost it unless, Andy, you could repost the picture, okay, if you can. Okay, so it's been a while since they've used 3 different baseballs last year. So it keeps it fresh, keeps it fun, keeps you guessing. You never know. Nobody wants that. We want one consistent F-ing baseball. I don't care if it's a ping pong ball. I don't care if it's a golf ball, a Super Bowl, whatever it is. Just make it consistent for the entire year. Let the players know what kind of ball. This way, you want more offense? Players know what to expect, okay? I mean, look, Merrill and Mitchell are together. If we could have Merrill and Mitchell sitting together, look, a hockey puck is a hockey puck. A football is a football. Basketball, a baseball could be anything. Why are we doing this? Why are we doing it? Major League Baseball owns the company that makes the baseball. Is there a conflict of interest there? I don't know. But you come into the dugout, sit in the dugout, you watch hitters, and boy, it's just not good. Also, now, we talked about potential gambling everywhere, and I think it's killing baseball. Well, not yet, but it's going to kill baseball. Boston Paul, great to see Boston Paul in the chat room. It's disappointing for baseball fans to see the MLB Network get dropped. MLB Network got dropped by YouTube. The MLB Network is still available, and it seems that baseball is being dropped everywhere. Is it on Sirius Radio? Look, Lou Blassie does a great job talking baseball. Absolutely. Other shows will sprinkle it in here and there, but other than Lou Blassie, is anybody else talking baseball, fantasy baseball on the Fantasy Channel? No, unless it's like a gambling question. Okay, so if you haven't noticed it, baseball is going the wrong way. Well, all right, here's the news of last week, of this week, all right? It's February 2nd. Believe it or not, there are still 3 unsigned players who rank among the CBS Sports top 50 free agents. 3. Michael Wacha, Jurickson Profar, and I don't get, to me, Jurickson Profar is holding out. Jurickson Profar deserves a nice deal. Jurickson Profar and David Peralta. Wacha, ranked number 32, is seeking a 2-year contract worth $30 million, according to Bob Nightingale. The deal would be comparable to the one the Rangers handed to his former teammate Nate Eovaldi. So it's draft time now, assuming Wacha signs with a decent team, although it may be Baltimore. Who would you rather take, Michael Wacha or Nate Eovaldi? This is a very interesting question because it's one question that could be, right? James Caplion is here. Nice to see you. So let's get Uncle Putin in there to answer a question. Who would you rather have, Uncle Putin? By the way, Andy, see if you can put that picture and repost it if you can. Okay. So who would you rather have, Michael Wacha or Nate Eovaldi? It could come out to that, too. Good morning, everybody. Happy Groundhog's Day. We were already done with that. It's going to be next year. It's going to be happy, and there, Potato Pete is here. Okay, good morning, Potato Pete. And by the way, name the only player, the last player to be drafted by the Montreal Expos. Okay, that's the question of the day. Name them, and Bobby Kleinow is there. Okay. Name the only player, the last player, okay? Name the last player who was drafted by the Montreal Expos. Okay? Uncle Putin's asking a question here. Malpal likes Uvalde. Let's see. Uncle Putin, I saw a question.
I'm going to call that guy Putin.
All right, Andrea wants to tell me something, okay?
Stop calling him Putin.
Stop calling him Putin. All right, there it is. Who is it, okay? Who is it? So Profar, so Waka is up there. Would you rather have Waka or Uvalde? That's the big question of the day. Profar and Peralta appear to be decent candidates to slot in at some teams' left field. And we'll talk about the Yankees' left fielder in just a few minutes. That's it, right? That's a premiere. That could be very interesting. We talk about it a lot because everybody's asking me who's the Yankee left fielder, and you know what? The legend doesn't know because the Yankees don't know. So the Yankees are reluctant to meet Profar's asking price, suggesting he might have to find. The Yankees want him. They got to figure out a way to get him in. They also have shown interest in Peralta. It stands to reason would cost a little less to sign than Profar would. And who's left on the trading block? Well, Brian Reynolds is still left on the trading block, and it seems unlikely. The Pirates, by the way, and I know that Potato Pete, the Pirate fan, I know that Danny Olson, all you Pirate lovers, the Pirates are playing it tough, right, Tommy Johnson? The Pirates are playing it close to the vest. It seems that most people want Uvalde, okay, and that's pretty interesting right there. So, Brian Reynolds. Most candidates to change the dresses now, between now and opening day. Max Kepler, he still remains. Minnesota's depth chart is full. Beyond Kepler, the Twins enjoy. They've got Buxton, they got Trevor Larnach, they got Kirilloff, they got Joey Gallo, Michael Taylor. They have to make a trade. The Twins could shift Gallo or one of the others to first base, but that would still leave them with more players than available spots. So expect the Minnesota Twins to be right there. The Red Sox are interested in obtaining more middle infield help. That may not come via trade, may come via free. And Chad Green. Now, I'm not going to spend too much time on Chad Green because is he fantasy relevant? Second, I'll tell you what, there's been so many. He's got club options, he's got team options, he's got all kinds of options. But the bullpen in Toronto got a little bit deeper, adding Chad Green on a 2-year deal, okay? So let's see what happens. Matt Gage was designated for assignment. The Jays believe they can remain patient with Green's rehab because they already have a full complement of them. They have Jordan Romano. He's set to lead the bullpen. Yimi Garcia. Chad Green is draftable in fantasy baseball. They got Anthony Best. Yushi Kikuchi could be a long reliever. But Chad Green is going to get some saves. Okay, he's a former 11th round pick. Had been a regular presence in the Yankee bullpen since 2017. Went free agent. He posted a 3.1 ERA, striking out 99 batters in 2021. Okay? So keep an eye out on Chad Green. Now, don't forget, we talk about mixed leagues, dynasty leagues, only leagues. We give you the up-to-date stuff on the players we all know, and we give you stuff on players you don't know. So the addition of Green, the Blues get another swing, the Blue Jays, another swing and miss arm for the bullpen. They lacked much of that in 2022. He struck out 11.5 batters per 9 innings against 2.5 walks to go along with a 3.1 ERA in 7 seasons in the majors. So he was effective against a lot of teams. So keep an eye on Chad Green. Now, we talked about the Yankees' left field spot. We've mentioned it many times, okay? But at first glance, Oswaldo Cabrera seems to have leverage regarding the left field position. And here's the great part about it. Everywhere you go, you read something else. Cabrera is coming off a fantastic campaign of 13 defensive run saves, 9 defensive runs saved in the outfield. Will they be willing to sacrifice a little offense to get Oswaldo Cabrera? Or I think the Yankees are going to take the position that Cabrera is going to be the utility guy with a lot of playing time, okay? Utility guy, a lot of playing time. Aaron Hicks is still out there. The Yankees brought in Rafael Ortega. They brought in Willie Calhoun to compete. So the Yankees have a lot. And the question is, so many people have asked me about Esteban Florial. Can he still save his spot with the Yankees? If you're holding on to him in a dynasty league, he's now 25 years old. Exactly the age to become an everyday contributor. All right? He has approximately 0 minor leagues. He has no options. So Florial, you got to take a look at Florial, even though I will go on record by saying I've said this for a couple of years, Esteban Florial will not be a Yankee starter, okay? He will not. But this is his year. So for those of you who believe, the problem with Florial, his metrics look great at AAA. He's got the tools to become a player. His numbers and confidence simply have not translated to the major league level. And that's a big deal. Yogi Berra once said 50% of the game is 90% mental. Okay? So that's Florial. A 5-tool prospect. Dominates at the AAA level, but once he hits the major league batter's box, he chases, he strikes out, he swings and misses. So, look, given the number of times the Yankees have trotted out players like Tyler Wade, Tim LeCastro, ahead of Florial. He's out of minor league options. Be very interesting to see how he's handled. Now, Josh Naylor is someone, one of the things that I've enjoyed about going to the Arizona Fall League is finding players that when I got there, I didn't know who he was. And I see Josh Naylor, who is a carbon copy of John Kruk. It's possible that somebody in the Naylor family is going to represent Canada. Josh Naylor, in the midst of his first normal off season, he's healthy again. Okay? He had his 2021 season cut short due to an ankle surgery and rehab that followed. So I like Josh Naylor. So don't think that everybody I talk about, I'm going to talk negative. I like Josh Naylor. Now, a potential trade may be happening. The Chicago White Sox looking to add an infielder to their group before the start of the season, and one player is emerging as a trade target, and it's an old friend. It's Nick Madrigal. Okay? With the Cubs signing Dansby Swanson, Madrigal is no longer a starter. He could be on the move. The White Sox traded Madrigal to the Cubs, if you remember, part of the Craig Kimbrell trade. They could trade him right back, and they know him. At the time of the move, Madrigal was emerging as a very effective Major League Baseball player. He had a .305 average in 54 games. He struggled with the Cubs, batting about .250 in 59 games. I could see it happening. It'll be intriguing to see if they move back to the White Sox could help Madrigal. So keep an eye on Madrigal. Expect to, if you can get him in a trade now for nothing, you can give up nothing and get possibly the potential second baseman on the White Sox, okay? Who's going to be, so anybody know who that picture is? He's a member of the chat room. Let's put it that way. Anybody want to guess? Anybody want to guess? Is it, who is it? What's your question? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see your question, Eddie. That's right. The last player drafted by the Montreal Expos, and I think Chris Gallo got it. Oh, who's to Lenny's left? Yeah, I'll answer that question in just a second. Yes, it was. Tom Brady was the last player drafted by the Montreal Expos as a catcher. How about that one? Now, a player that I've talked about for years and quite honestly have been wrong about for years is somebody who may come around this season. And his name is Brian Anderson. He's had two very frustrating seasons, but he's once again healthy. We don't know the degree of his injuries and stuff. He's 29. He's a member of the Milwaukee Brewers, and the Brewers expect him to contribute at more than one position, okay? His left shoulder is, as the report says, and listen to this, fully healed. Potato Pete, good to see you in the chat room, okay? Let's check with our new people. Every day we get new people. There you go. James Caprion, not new, one of the stalwarts here. Good morning to you all. Uncle Puddin', hope you enjoy the chat room. So, he had a shoulder injury, didn't make a big deal about it. Brian Anderson, limited to under 70 games with the Marlins in 2021. He underwent surgery and last year he played only 98 games. So, I'm talking about an end-game pick as a utility player who may be eligible for more than one position if you're in a 15-team league. As I said, 15-team leagues, we talk about 10-team leagues, we talk about 12-team leagues. Whatever you want, that's what we talk about, and we give you all the information. Now, here's the deal. Starting Monday, you got that? Starting Monday, we're going to go position by position. There you go. We'll talk about every position, and we'll give you the rundown of every position, and whoo! The podcast may be a little longer than expected, but we'll give you everything you want to know. So Anderson, 309 starts at third base, 185 in the outfield. He played right field, he played left field, limited time at first base, second base, and even shortstop. He's a well-rounded player, okay? He's a right-handed hitter. He's been told third base will be his focus. And if you remember, going back to 2020, he was a Gold Glove Award finalist in the shortened 2020 season. Now, Luis Urias has been Milwaukee's primary starter at third base the past two seasons. Mike Pursuit was there. They also have Owen Miller, Abraham Toro. But Brian Anderson, in my opinion, and sometimes, you don't say the obvious, but if you have a chance to get Brian Anderson for your minor leagues, I would take him. I wouldn't take him over King Hap, that's for sure. Good morning to the king of all hopelessness, King Hap. Urias has been the primary starter at third base. First base is the position he's had the least amount of work. I'm talking about Brian Anderson. So, and aside from Tyrone Taylor, Anderson is the only other right-handed hitting outfielder option. So I would say you're going to get some reasonable at-bats for Brian Anderson, and if he starts producing, you could have a big-time sleeper here. His best season was 2018. He hit, 270-something? He had 11 home runs, 65 RBIs. Okay? His career, he's a 255 hitter, 57 homers. He has hit better against righties than lefties, but just mark him down because when you do in your draft, you never know, right? Now, Dylan Moore. Nobody knows what to do with Dylan Moore, and he's one of the ups. As I said, we don't always talk about the stars because we know most we have to know. But Dylan Moore agreed for a 3-year contract with Seattle, okay? So, he's expected to play more second base this season, but he's going to be a utility guy. Colton Wong is there. J.P. Crawford's at short, okay? He hit 224. Look, he's had... It's going to be interesting to see what happens. But Dylan Moore, everybody's drafting him because he could steal a base. And it's very possible that Dylan Moore could actually steal 20 or more bases. Okay. We're going to talk about the St. Louis Cardinals now for a second, because the Cardinals have, in my opinion, more players than any other team to talk about. Okay, you got that, Mel Pal? How are you doing today, Robert? All you guys. Great to see everybody, Zilma. And by the way, the person in the picture sitting next to me is not in the chat room right now, but he's been here for a long, long time. And his name is White Sox Al. That's White Sox Al, Eddie Heckman. Okay, he's in the picture. When we were in Chicago, we met White Sox Al. How about that? Okay. Malpal says Moore's a good guy to have around in an only league. Absolutely. Good point. Only league. Especially. And we talk only league. I'm in a lot of only leagues, okay? But Brendan Donovan, okay, was he a one-season offensive wonder? He got results working the count during his rookie season. And Brendan Donovan projects to get lots of playing time at second base during the season. He projects to get playing time during the season at second base. But not only at second base. So you take a look at this Cardinals team, and let's just go through what could be the starting lineup. Goldschmidt at first. Second base, it could be Brendan Donovan or Nolan Gorman. We'll get to Nolan Gorman in a minute. Shortstop, Tommy Edman and Paul. Look at all these players. We can go through Paul DeJong tomorrow. Arenado with O'Neill, Carlson, Lars Nootbaar, Alec Burleson, Juan Yepes. Woo! The Cardinals are running crazy. They'll drive any fantasy baseball player absolutely bonkers. No doubt about it. But Brendan Donovan projects to get a lot of playing time during the coming season, and since the new no-shift rules will put more emphasis on fielding range and make it more difficult for a guy like Nolan Gorman to hold up defensively, Brendan Donovan's going to get some playing time. He's a much better defensive player than Nolan Gorman. How many people really expect Paul DeJong to rediscover his swing after a couple of years of slumping? So Donovan could be the shortstop. But Donovan suffers from a glaring lack of power, and he's not fast. So his metrics have regressed. Pitchers should approach him more aggressively, knowing his game plan. He takes a lot of pitches, and he tries to drive up pitch counts and draw walks. Okay? So here are some fun facts about Donovan. Donovan took the third fewest swings of all hitters with 400 or more plate appearances. He took the second fewest swings on no ball, no strike counts. This is Brendan Donovan. But he's going to be somebody that you got to take in the reserve round. He swung at 17.5% of the first pitches in the strike zone. He walked 13% of his plate appearances. When it had a 2-2 count, he walked 24%. His barrel rate was in the 8th percentile. Maximum exit. What is there to like about him? He almost never pops up. Okay? And by the way, a pop-up is a batted ball with a launch angle of 50 degrees or more. He popped up less than 4% of his batted balls. So, he didn't strike out much. He didn't pop up much. He posted an above-average line drive rate. While Donovan's, I'm telling you, Donovan could be a decent player, a decent fill-in, okay? All right, so even though you got all these players, Carlson, Nootbaar, Yepes, it's an impressive mix, but it doesn't have that athletic. Nolan Gorman can mash it, but he's got a questionable strike zone command. Jordan Walker could hit St. Louis with a flourish this season. You got so many Cardinal players, I wouldn't be surprised if So many people playing fantasy baseball, all right, have more than one Cardinal on their team. You got that? So Nolan Gorman can mash it. He's got questionable strike zone command. Jordan Walker is going to be a player too. And they got deeper with the offseason acquisition of Wilson Contreras. Okay? So there, Wilson Contreras. We'll get to that in just a minute. Let's talk about the Wilson Contreras. And let's talk about what the Cubs are going to do behind the plate. Who's the Cubs catcher? They gave Wilson Contreras to the Cardinals, and now what happens to the Cubs at catcher? Okay? What happens to the Chicago Cubs at catcher? I mean, since 2016, Wilson Contreras had been a staple for the Cubs. 730 games during that, 626 behind the plate. So Chicago embarking in a very new direction behind the plate. They're prioritizing defensive work for the Cubs, game calling, and other intangibles. They're placing a lot of faith on two players, Yan Gomes, who returns in 2023, and I was going to say Tucker Carlson, but I'll say Tucker Barnhart, who signed a one-year deal. Everybody good on that? Tommy Johnson, you're looking great. Merrill, Mitchell, all you guys. Eddie Heckman, everybody's looking great in the chat room. Boston Paul, great to see you back in there. It's great to see Boston Paul. Position will look very different. Last season, Gomes outpaced Contreras in terms of pitcher performance. 3.96 ERA for Contreras, 3.66. Okay, 3.66 for Gomes, and Contreras ranked in the 25th percentile for framing. Gomes checked in at 33rd, Barnhart 44th. The big downgrade defensively will be, Contreras ranked at the 80th percentile in catching balls. But still, offensively, there's going to be a significant drop-off. So when it comes to the Cubs and the catching position, at least in 2023, don't expect to draft any Cub as your number one. Number two catcher, yes. Okay? Number two. But between Gomes and Barnhart, not a lot to talk about. Okay? Absolutely not. All right, let's just go through. Everybody doing good? Sorry for the confusion today. And don't forget, as we have said before, next week we're going to start doing positions, positional mix. We may go American League, National League. I'm not really sure. We'll see. And once again, Eddie Heckman, that was White Sox Al in the chat room. Okay, now let's go through a couple of the top players. Okay, a couple of other top players. According to Keith Law, and we talked about Corbin Carroll the other day, he came into 2022, he only had 18 career games. He finished, he had a nice WAR. He had 28 homers, stole 33 bases. He was the 16th pick, 2019. Once again, I'm talking about Corbin Carroll. Tremendous sprint speed. He does everything. Number two, Gunnar Henderson. We've talked about him. He's made incredible strides as a player. Even just the past 2 years, he's made swing adjustments. His physical development has adjusted to that, and going from a raw athlete to an elite glove. The Orioles' second-round pick signed a first-round bonus. I'm telling you about Gunnar Henderson. The third prospect, Jackson Chourio. Now, keep in mind, there's two Chourios out there. Okay, can't have enough Cheerios. So this is the guy from Milwaukee, and he's 19 years old. Righty all the way, 6'1", 165. Milwaukee, he won't turn 19 until March, but he was the second best hitter in the Carolina League. Don't expect him. He's very aggressive. He walked only 7% of the time, struck out 27%. He's really struggled in his brief time in Double-A, so he won't be there. And remember, we talked about Ellie De La Cruz. Okay, he's the highest upside prospect that we have. So remember, the stolen bases, he's listed as 6'5". Nobody's 6'5" or taller has played shortstop regularly. Now, you got Debbie Cruz this year. Only 7 guys that tall have played in it at all, and notably Troy Glaus. Now, Jordan Walker, we mentioned him as a Cardinal. He's shown an advanced approach to the plate from the moment he made his debut in 2021. He moved to Double-A last year. Keep an eye on Jordan Walker. He's a big guy, 6'5", 220. Jordan Walker, primarily a fastball hitter. Struggled more with the soft stuff, but still, Jordan Walker, ready to embark. Diego Cartaya, 6'3" catcher for the Dodgers. He played just a month, and then he was injured, ending his season. But, I mean, he was impressive. Hit close to 300. It was low A. Keep an eye on him. Build your dynasty teams with some of these players. And finally, Francisco Alvarez, the highest-ranked player from last year's top 100 list, who didn't lose his eligibility. He had a tremendous start to his year in Double-A, 277, ran into some bad luck in Triple-A. He will start the year in Triple-A. The Mets want to see Alvarez improve as a catcher. And Anthony Volpe, we talk about him a lot, got off to a bad start last year, hitting just above 200. And then he worked his way through to it from 20 homers and 50 stolen bases. 2 more. Shortstop, Arizona, Jordan Lawler. He made his 2021 pro debut, and it ended 2 games into it. He injured his shoulder. But keep an eye. I want you to know these names. He's got a very advanced approach. He's a good player. Whoa. And then you'll get Yuri Perez with the Marlins, the right-handed pitcher. He won't even turn 20 until April. But he's the Marlins' top pitching prospect. He could be, at 6'8", 220 pounds, Yuri Perez could be, write this down, the best pitching prospect of all in all of baseball. 6'8". He's already conquered Double-A. You'll see him a little bit this year. And my fellow Americans, you got it. There you go. White Sox Al picture in the chat room, but he's not in the... he's not among us this morning. Anyway, thank you, Arnie. Thank you, Big Al. Boston Paul, love you. Greg is here. We love you. Thanks, Greg. Thank you. Chris from Cambridge. Chris Gallo. Dad's a Premier. DK Lucian. James Caprion. The King Hap tonight at 8:30. If you missed him last night, listen to him on demand. Marilyn Mitchell back together. The Malpal. The Robert C. Tommy Johnson. Zelmo. White Sox Al. And Unholy Toledo. Potato Pete is here. Who else? Bobby K is here. Bob, thank you, Bon. Yes. There will be room for you on the network. Thanks very much, everybody, and we'll see you again tomorrow. One other thing. Uncle Puddin asked a question. If Harper's not playing until July, do you draft and stash him? And how much do you spend? I'll tell you what, I would spend $9, $10 on it. I would just go with the flow, depending upon, he's not going to go early. Now, if you want to get Harper cheap, what you do is throw him out first, okay? And then see what happens. If you're really in love with having Bryce Harper, okay, throw him out first. Because once people have their money in their account and they know what they got, they'll know what to spend. You throw them out first, it's rare that somebody's going to go more than a couple of dollars. Right, Arnie? Am I right about that? There you go. See you tomorrow, everybody. Thank you.